Hello, art lovers. Welcome to another episode of the History of Art. Today, we're travelling back to the Roman Empire to uncover the secrets of one of the most extraordinary artifacts from the ancient world, the Portland Vase. It's a piece that's captivated artists, scholars, and collectors for centuries, and its tale is one of beauty, mystery, and sheer human ingenuity. Picture this: a small, elegant vase, no taller than a foot, made of deep cobalt blue glass with intricate white figures carved into its surface. It's delicate, almost impossibly so, and yet it survived for nearly 2,000 years. The Portland vase is not just a beautiful object, it's a window into the sophistication of ancient Roman craftsmanship and the cultural obsessions of the people who made it. But it's also a story of survival, destruction, and reinvention, one that stretches from ancient Rome to the drawing rooms of 18th century England and beyond. Let's start with what the vase actually is. The Portland vase is a piece of cameo glass, a technique where layers of glass, here, blue and white, are fused together, and then the top layer is meticulously carved away to create a relief design. The result is a stunning contrast, creamy white figures that seem to float against the dark blue background. The scenes on the vase depict mythological figures, possibly a wedding or a story tied to love and the divine, but the exact meaning has puzzled experts for centuries. The figures are graceful, their drapery flowing, their gestures expressive, all carved with a precision that feels almost miraculous for something made around the 1st century AD. Now imagine being a Roman artisan tasked with creating this. Glassmaking in the ancient world was already a high art. The Romans had mastered blowing glass into delicate shapes, but cameo glass was next level. You'd need to layer the molten glass just right, cool it without cracking, and then carve it with tools finer than a modern scalpel. One slip, and the whole piece could be ruined. The Portland vase is a testament to the skill of these artisans, who were likely working for an elite client, maybe even someone in the imperial circle, given the quality and expense of the materials. This wasn't a vase for everyday use, it was a status symbol, a display of wealth and taste, but who was it made for, and what does it show? That's where the mystery kicks in. The scenes on the vase are divided into two panels. One side seems to show a young man and woman, perhaps in a romantic or marital moment, with a Cupid-like figure hovering nearby. The other side is trickier, maybe a divine figure, possibly Venus or Peleus and Thetis from Greek mythology, but no one's sure. The ambiguity is part of the vase's allure. It's like a puzzle left behind by the Romans, daring us to decode it. Some scholars think it was a wedding gift, others a funerary urn. There's even a theory it was linked to Emperor Augustus himself, designed to celebrate his family or his divine ancestry. We don't know for sure, and that uncertainty keeps us coming back to it. What we do know is that the vase was likely made in Rome or Alexandria, two hubs of glassmaking excellence, between 5 BC and 25 AD. This was the height of the Roman Empire, a time when Rome was awash with wealth and cultural ambition. The vase would have been a prized possession, probably displayed in a grand villa or a palace. But then, like so many treasures of the ancient world, it disappears from the historical record for centuries. Where did it go? Was it buried in a tomb, hidden in a cupboard, passed from one elite collector to another? We don't know. It's as if the vase slipped into the shadows, waiting to re-emerge. Fast forward to the Renaissance and the Portland vase pops up in Italy. By the 16th century, it's in the hands of the powerful Barberini family in Rome. They were major players, cardinals, popes, art collectors, and they recognized the vase's value. It was already ancient, a relic of a lost world, and they treasured it. But it's in the 18th century that the vase's story takes a dramatic turn. It ends up in England, in the collection of Sir William Hamilton, a British diplomat and antiquarian with a passion for classical art. Hamilton was a tastemaker, and the vase fit perfectly into the Enlightenment craze for all things ancient. People were obsessed with Greece and Rome, think Pompeii fever, newly excavated ruins, and a hunger for classical beauty. Hamilton eventually sold the vase to the Duchess of Portland, which is how it got its name. The Duchess was a collector with eclectic tastes, shells, paintings, antiquities, and the vase was one of her crown jewels. After her death in 1785, it passed to her son, the Duke of Portland, and stayed in the family. But here's where the story gets wild. In 1845, the vase was on loan to the British Museum, where it was smashed to pieces by a drunken visitor named William Lloyd. Can you imagine the horror? This 2,000-year-old masterpiece shattered into hundreds of fragments. It was a scandal, and the press went wild. Lloyd was arrested, but the damage was done. Thankfully, this is also a story of restoration. The British Museum's conservators painstakingly pieced the vase back together, a process that took years. They did such a good job that you can still see the vase today, though if you look closely, you'll spot the fine lines where it was repaired. It's been restored again since, using modern techniques to make it look almost as good as new. But those cracks are a reminder of its fragility and its incredible journey. The Portland Vase didn't just survive physically, it inspired generations of artists. In the 18th century, it became a sensation in Britain. Josiah Wedgwood, the famous potter, was obsessed with it. He spent years trying to recreate it in his signature jasperware, a kind of ceramic that mimics the vase's cameo effect. Wedgwood's copies are works of art in their own right, but they also show how the Portland vase became a cultural icon. It wasn't just an artifact, it was a symbol of classical perfection, a challenge to artists to match the skill of the ancients. Consider the combination of its beauty and its mystery. It's a technical marvel, yes, but it's also a storyteller. Those carved figures invite you to imagine their world, lovers, gods, rituals we can only guess at. And then there's its survival. This delicate object has outlasted empires, wars, and even a drunken vandal. It's been cherished by Romans, Renaissance princes, and modern museums. Each era has seen something different in it, projecting their own dreams and ideals onto its surface. If you ever get the chance to see the Portland Vase, it's still at the British Museum. Take a moment to look closely. Notice the way the light catches the white figures against the blue, the way the carving seems to breathe with life. Think about the hands that made it, the eyes that admired it over centuries, and the sheer luck that brought it to us. It's not just a vase, it's a time machine, a piece of human history that still speaks to us today. I hope you've enjoyed this investigation into the Portland Vase. If you're as fascinated by it as I am, let us know in the comments and tell us what other art treasures you'd like us to explore. Until next time, keep looking at the world with curious eyes.